friend Rudy Garcia, en paz descanse, his parents used to be carteros. His father was what they call el Pato Suave, Rodolfo Garcia Sr. And Rodolfo was what I said before, he was one of the main characters in La Carpa. I'm talking about Rodolfo Sr., who was called el Pato Suave. And he was kind of resembled the Cantinflas character, the character that sort of knew everything, but because he's trying to survive in society.
What did the Carpa look like?
Well, there is one of Rudy's uncles in that show I was telling you about, the Wayne Museum. He created a miniature Carpa. It was made out of canvas, and it had poles, like maybe 3 poles. And it was sort of like a circus, like a tent circus. Okay, and it was all held inside, and there were bleachers inside. Okay, and outside there would be like people walking around, giving out flyers, to the other show, and you could actually hear what was going on, the laughter. You could imagine the laughter, and sort of some of the things that were inside the show, and people would become curious, and then they would go in and sit down and partake of the activities. And that's what they did, and that's how they survived. The Garcia family survived on that. There's photographs of them where they're painting some, under outbreaks. They're painting the scenery. Some of them were fixing the truck, and some of them were doing they're practicing on the wire act, and others are singing in a circle. Some with guitars, playing guitars, and going through the performances, but not in their attire, but just practicing, constantly practicing. And it was all a family thing. And you see children walking around, running around. It was that kind of life. And well, the Carpas were run by the family Garcia, which is called La Carpa Garcia. There was other Carpas also, La Carpa Cubana, La Carpa Montserrat, that I've heard of. And usually they would have like a small activity within the community. They would dress in their attire, and they would beat a drum and go through the community, and then they would bring people into the carpa, and then they would sit and they would perform their activities. And their activities would be around surrounded about. Usually they would make fun of some of the political that was going on there. Some of the things that were happening in the community, mainly making fun of rich people, okay, or people that had a lot of money. Well, Mr. Garcia, he wore like a wig with uncombed hair. His clothes were not the best clothes, but they were kind of neat. He wore kind of shoes that were without socks, and his face was painted usually like around his eyes. He was painted like white. The other characters, sometimes the other characters come in would just be characters that they were just characters in their own in the neighborhood, and they would invite them just to go in, like for example a policeman, that everybody knew that got around with. He would go actually as a policeman and appears a policeman in La Carpa, and he would be arresting some of the individuals there, to the delight of the crowd. Also there would be like singing shows. The ladies would come out in their attire with their beautiful costumes and hats. And there was also one of the a tight wire act where actually one of the Rudy's uncles would perform on a wire, wire, and it was stretched from pole to pole, and they would walk on the wire and do tricks on there. And they would have like other entertainers come in, like Lidia Mendoza would appear in Las Carpas. People of that time, and this happened before theaters or before TV. Of course, radio was around, but mostly they would go into camps where people would work in the fields. They would set up their camps, or where people were in need of some kind of entertainment, and there would be the tradition back then. And they would go from one neighborhood, from one town to another town, basically here on San Antonio area, things like that. But it was well known. It's a well-known carpa at that time, La Carpa Garcia.